Alright guys, Peter Von Panda here in my Plymouth Prowler, and as you can see I'm looking at the instrument gauges here, and what you might be able to see there is that I'm not getting any oil pressure reading on the gauge. And so the easy way to fix this is to reach in here and tap 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 tap. Cougar, we've got to land this thing. We are way low on gas, you understand me? So anyway, look at that. Doesn't do anything, which means then the second thing we have to do is replace the oil sending unit or the oil pressure switch. Same thing, goes by a couple names. And on this 3.5 liter V6 engine, it's pretty standard Chrysler fare, so I'm going to show you how to do it because it'll actually apply to a bunch of cars, and the part is pretty cheap, only about a $20 part for the sending unit. And so let's tackle that and see if we can fix this. Alright, so for me, I'm going to use these typical ramps. You're going to want to chalk your wheels. I've also got the parking brake on to make sure that nothing goes awry here, and just pop the hood and show you, this 3.5 liter V6 was using a lot of Chrysler products, so you're going to find this in a lot of cars. I think the Intrepid, New Yorker, LHS, the Concorde, I think most of the LH sedans, the Chrysler 300M at the time, maybe even the Pacifica, had this motor, or it'll be pretty similar. And so first thing that you're gonna have to do is get the sensor, and I will show that to you, and then we will locate it, which is next to the oil filter. All right guys, so I'm just climbing underneath the car here on the driver's side. You can see that the oil filter is right here, and the pressure sensor or the sending unit is right here. And so it's right next to the oil filter, and so it's actually pretty easy to get to. It does have a pigtail on the back end here, which I think I can probably, it doesn't look like anything too hard to get off. I think I can just lift up that clip and pull it off here. So that's actually nice. It's actually one of the easier ones. Now, the other thing that I do like about this is that the sensor is way bigger than I expected. I mean, it's like a thick thumb, and so you do need one of those thick, like 1.25 inch maybe, diameter deep well sockets to get it off. One of the things that I'm actually kind of curious about here is that, at least on this, I don't see any oil like clogging up the end, so I don't know that the housing is ruptured or anything. And so I'm maybe a little surprised that it's not working. Usually when these things go bad, they're kind of covered in oil, and so just one thing to keep in mind. We'll get it out and get the new one in. The other thing is, obviously there's a breach once you take it off into the engine, so you do need a bucket, a pan down here to catch the oil as it comes out. So let's go ahead and try to get this out. All right guys, so I got the calipers out because I've discovered something. These sending units are basically a standard size. This collar is basically either 1 inch or 1/16 inch, and my calipers say that this is 1/16 inch. And so I don't have, depending on the kind of tools you have, a 1 and 1/16 inch wrench or socket that big. Most of mine only go up to about 7/8 inch. So I just made a quick trip to AutoZone and picked this up. They actually make an oil pressure switch socket which fits 1 and 1/16 inch, and it's obviously very deep well. So hopefully this should work. This is $12.99 from AutoZone, and this was the last one my local AutoZone had. So if you need it, make sure you get it. And if you need one, I will probably have a slightly used one for sale for $12.99. All right, let's see if we can get this thing in now. What you might be able to see there is I actually broke the old one getting it out, because there are those power steering hoses, and you get the hard hoses right at the end of the sensor. And so what I will tell you is, if you use that socket like I did, you're also going to want like a 2 inch, or maybe, probably a 2 inch extension, because you can't get the wrench in the back of the socket because the lines are in the way. So don't start this unless you have the 2 inch extension. Now, what I've also noticed is that the collar on the sensor does not appear to butt up directly against the engine block now that I've gotten it in. So I think it seats in the hole itself. I'm hoping, so that I don't have oil spewing out of there. So got it in. Thought I'd fire up the car and cross my fingers and hope that I didn't break the new sensor putting it in, because I definitely broke the old one taking it out. Moment of truth. Let's find out. Woo! Thank goodness. Look at that. Oil pressure. Amazing. Thank goodness. I don't want to have to do that again. I will double check underneath just to make sure that I'm not leaking any oil there. And then because you do lose a little oil coming out from that hole, you want to top off your car for sure. But whew, that's a success. Until next time on Wheeler Pandas. Ta-la!